And we are live. Welcome back to Seven Story Publishing. We know that it's been a while since we've conducted an interview, but we are back to it for the time being. Here we have Jake Camara. He's been on here before a couple of months ago. So how's it going, Jake? And how have things been, since your first interview on here?
Pretty great. I gotta say, you were probably the first actual interview I did as an author for
Ah,
anybody.
gotcha.
So much appreciate the exposure on that.
Mhm.
It's an honor, really, and I'm glad we reconnected after all this time to keep it going.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, first question, of course, what are some obstacles that come with being a writer, particularly when it comes to writing a series or writing in general, given, what you write?
Obstacles. Well, I hear a lot about writer's block. Now, I don't really experience this necessarily, more because if you have a story inside, it's kind of on you to prove it. You have to prove every single word of your story. You have to sit down and type all 300 pages of your book out to make it real. So, when you sit there and you're like, oh, I have a really cool idea for a story, and you know, I, I just can't, I'm not in the mood, or I don't have the feeling, or I had an idea and now it's gone. I don't know what to do. Remember, you're sitting there and making things up just all
Right.
day. Like that's what it is. If this is your career, you get paid to make things up. So it's a pretty sweet gig. So I don't know. The way I see it is like you should be privileged and honored to even have the opportunity to do this. So make some stuff up, man. Come on. Let's go.
Right. Definitely. Oh yeah, but in some cases it's easier said than done because it's more like
Well,
you're
managing
making the
free
stuff up.
time. Yeah.
Like, you're making the stuff up, but you wanna say it in a certain way. Like, you wanna catch the
Exactly, yeah.
reader's attention, there's a lot of things that go into that. But I get what you're saying, though. It's like, "Look, you're making stuff up, so just make some stuff up, refine it later." You know?
Exactly.
Alright, which leads to the second question. So, what's the best method for writers to gain inspiration, in your opinion?
Consume a lot of similar things to what you're trying to create. So whether you're trying to like write a book that's a historical period piece, you read as many of those as you can.
Mm,
If you're trying to like make it more cinematic, watch more movies. If you want to make it like an ongoing TV show, watch some really good TV shows. Whatever you want to emulate, watch and read what other people have done and pick and choose the parts that work for you and make it your own, make it your own original story and go from there.
alright, there you go. Pretty simple, straight to the point. I like it, I like it. Alright. So what are some of your biggest accomplishments in the year 2025 as it relates to writing?
Okay. I finished two things, and
Mhm.
one's not a book. I finished a manuscript for a book that involves pirates and ninjas, and very excited about that one. I'm shopping that around to publishers right now.
Right.
And I also finished a screenplay last year for my debut
Oh,
feature, and I am working out the logistics of how and if I'm going to make that happen this summer. So I may potentially be directing my own film over the summer before my baby is born later this year. That's the timeline. We got an existential timeline ticking for us.
right, right, right. Okay, okay. So we got a manuscript and a screenplay.
Yeah.
Nice. So,
Yeah.
what are some differences between, like, writing a manuscript and a screenplay? For
Oh
those
God.
out there that,
Isn't that the question of the day?
yeah.
So with a book, I'll start this way. With a movie, you don't have the luxury of sending pages and pages of exposition to describe the world around you. Everything is visual, right?
Right.
So you don't know what the characters think unless you use narration. You don't know what the characters are thinking. You have to interpret what they're thinking based on the visual medium of film. So, for
Right.
example, if a guy thinks a girl is really hot, in a book, you can just write he thought she was really pretty. The sun hits her hair, blah, 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 blah. In a movie, you show an actor looking at a woman, reverse shot, cut back to that actor, and the actor smiles or something charming. And you visually interpret what that means without any words or dialogue, right? So just the very basic fundamental storytelling principles are so wildly different when approaching one or the other. It's to the point where adaptation is its own art. There's a reason that at the Oscars, Best Original Screenplay and Best Adapted Screenplay are two different categories because they're two
Mm,
different art forms. They take a
right.
different skill set to do each of those.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's very interesting, actually.
I've always felt
Like
that way.
just the difference between writing a book and writing a screenplay. Like in a
Hmm.
book, it's plain. You can just write that, right? And then in a
Exactly.
screenplay, it's more like
Exactly.
So in a screenplay, it's just like, okay, you just have to say, okay, the actor looks at a girl, scene cuts to the actor smiles, and then
Exactly.
it's up to the actors to pretty much
Intuit that.
play
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. And it's funny too when you watch a lot of movies, particularly movies based on books, you can always kind of tell when the screenwriters couldn't condense it because they'll just have the main character narrate in his head just constantly because
Yeah,
they're looking at all of the book material and they're like, I can't possibly fit this into a visual medium. I'm just gonna have him think about this. Tick, 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 tick. And you just hear this guy
right.
thinking over and over and over again. It's like, oh, this is the most book adapted thing ever.
Right? And a lot of people don't a lot of people don't mind it if it's like, here and there, but if you're just narrating the entire film, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, it can be used effectively, but you're absolutely right.
yeah, definitely. All right. So, what's a scene you've written either in your manuscript or screenplay that lives rent free in your head? Like, how did you feel when writing that scene, and how do you feel about it now?
Okay, you know, how do I put this? Okay, I'll start with the book one. Let's go with the one that isn't published yet because we already did a Devil's League interview, so there's no point in retrotting territory here. Um, in the manuscript, which takes place in the 1700s and involves pirates who are rather ninja-like, um, there are a lot of scenes. There are a lot of great scenes, but there's an object. It's a sword. It's a katana, really, from like the
Right.
shinobi era, but it's
Yeah.
enchanted. And the current owner, the wielder of the katana, is endowed with all the skills of the previous owners. Right.
Mm,
So if you're in the pirate times, you have like 1,000 years of warrior history flowing through you. So you're like Neo in the Matrix, unbelievable.
mhm.
So there are a few select scenes where it's like a 1v20 or a 1v30 versus just some guy with the sword, but that guy is unbelievable and just
Right.
countering everything, dodging just it's I'm really proud of how I described that scene, you know.
Yeah.
I wish I had like a cinematic version to play. I'd feature it right now, but
Right.
it's you gotta be there, man. It's so good.
Right. I get it. I get it. I'm not gonna lie. Like I write a lot of fight scenes in my novel, and that's kind of like that's where I lock in and really
Yep.
just go into the nitty gritty of that scene. That's where you kind of show off. Just like what, let's
Mhm.
let's really get
Oh,
into
and I didn't mention the part in the screenplay. So it's a series of segments, like short, like an anthology almost.
it.
And the
Right.
one that I'm in, the one that I cast myself as, because this character is the worst character in the film. I don't want to ask an actor to do this. Um, I play a tenant at an Airbnb, and the night prior, I had done something horrible, just despicable in that guy's house. But both me and the homeowner have such low ratings that if
Uh-huh.
we each get one more negative review, we're banned from the platform. So we both
Right.
need 5 stars from the other. And this whole sketch
Right.
is just the morning after, right? Of them just
Yeah.
sitting at dinner at the breakfast table talking about it. So yeah,
Oh my
it's gonna be really fun.
god. Okay, that's interesting. Utopia.
Well, it's a real
Utopia.
phenomenon. If you look up like Airbnb, every rating is
Yeah.
5 stars, 5 stars, because if you leave bad reviews, people don't want to host you. So you have
Right.
to leave really, really flattering reviews. So I'm just taking that to extremes in the movie.
Okay, got you. All right. So, what are some of your goals for 2026 as a writer?
Direct my movie. No, really, what I want to do besides that is, I want to get my manuscript published. I want to find a publisher who can work with me, like make some cover design, get in all the bookstores, get on the shelves. It's a really cool idea. It's a book I haven't really read personally. Like I don't think it's been written. Maybe similar books have. I think
Right.
Seafire might be the closest book to this that
Mm-hmm.
exists in modern parlance. But
Yeah.
it's its own thing, and I really want there to be an opportunity for this book to find an audience.
Okay. Okay. Definitely. All right. So, if you had the chance to rewrite any story in your image, it could be any story, like all time. Which one would it be and why?
Yeah, all right. I mean, I probably have multiple answers to this question, but the one that popped into my mind, my favorite film is The Matrix, just all time.
Yeah.
So pretty much any of those sequels, I'd like to I'd like to rewrite to some capacity. Um,
Okay.
I've I've heard more or less any piece of fan fiction or fan pitch about the Matrix series. I think they're all superior to Matrix Three's ending. I think that ending
Okay.
was so
Got.
disappointing.
Oh yeah. I mean, the first two are good, but like the third one is like, you know what?
the
You waited
The
too
first
long to
two
like.
have crazy action. Even I don't like the second one very much, but the action in two is crazy.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't know. I think they
Yeah.
just waited too long to bring out the third one. Like, if you were gonna do a third one, you should have brought it out like
Yeah.
when Keanu Reeves was a lot younger.
Oh, you're talking about part 4 that just came
Oh,
out.
oh yeah. Oh, not the third one. Part four. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Part
No,
four.
that one, it's a mixed bag. I like it
Yeah.
better than part 3. 3 was the him versus Smith, and they're, like,
Oh yeah,
doing Dragon
definitely. Yeah,
Ball
you're
Z
right.
live
You're right.
action, dark at night in rain,
Yeah, it's
which was
Matrix
like
Reloaded, Matrix Evolution, and then
and then
the fourth.
Resurrection,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, all 3 of those sequels, just rewrite them. Just get them going.
Okay. All right. I can see that. I can see that. I can see a lot of people like, you know what? I would have done that part like that. Yeah, I would have done this part a
Oh,
little bit different.
actually, it's actually in camera. So, this poster here,
Yeah.
um this is something that many years ago the Wachowskis had an auction with their stuff. This is something I actually won. I just bid a low price and I ended up being the winner. This is a poster. You'll remember the Oscars. The Matrix swept. It got nominated for 4 awards, won all 4 awards. So the
Right.
Oscars created a congratulations poster and
Yeah.
put 4 Oscar trophies on the 4 people of the movie.
Right.
Lawrence Fishburne, Joe Pantoliano, and they mimicked the poster and said congratulations. That's the poster they gave the Wachowskis. So that's now in my
Mm,
studio. I'm still setting this room up. There's like a piece of gym equipment over there. I'm still setting it up, but
right.
that's going to be displayed prominently. I'm very excited about that.
Okay. Got you. No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Wouldn't that? So, where's the weirdest or strangest place you've gotten an idea for a story?
um okay, so I do have an answer to this question. I The place is not what's interesting about it. The place is just because I've watched a lot of Hugo Weaving movies, including The Matrix, of course, in that series. Um, there exists a first draft, and it's just a first draft. It's bare bones. There's no plot because I didn't expand on it. But somewhere in
Mhm.
my archives is a first draft of a story called The Ring of the Smiths,
Right.
where it is a parody book that posits that every actor has like a tower. Think like the Dark Tower, like Stephen King.
Yeah.
And that tower is at the nexus of all of their actors' roles. So every time they get a new role, a new world is created, right? And the most intelligent members of that actor's roles run the tower, their nexus. And each each one was woven together, and it was called the Hugo Weaving for Hugo Weaving. And all 6 characters he played in the Cloud Atlas film ran that tower, and they were the Cloud Council of Atlas. But what
Right.
happens is, at the end of Matrix 3, Smith explodes, and Matrix 4, Smith is recast. So
Right.
narrative of the book I wrote, basically, Smith could not return from dying, despite the fact that he can do that. So he resurrects, but he exists nowhere because he's been recast. He's no longer part of the weaving.
Right.
So Smith breaks out of the limbo that he's in and starts infecting all the other worlds that Hugo Weaving has played. So he takes over Megatron, he takes over the Wolfman, he takes over Elrond. Elrond is actually the
Right.
protagonist of the book, because the Cloud Council summons Elrond to deal with
Right.
this problem. And it's it kind of takes, joking jabs at all of his filmography. It was like blockbuster filmography, but like every single role that he played was in this book as a character. And
Oh
it's a
wow.
race against time of Elrond. He recruits V for Vendetta, he recruits Red Skull from the first Captain America, and they have to
Right.
band together to stop the Smiths before they infect every last Hugo Weaving in the weaving.
Wow. Okay.
That is the weirdest, craziest, dumbest, insane
Right.
batshit I ever had, inspired by something trivial. And I wrote it out technically, except for like the epilogue. I wrote like A to B to C to D, and I looked at it. I'm like, there's no way I can sell this. There's just no
Right.
way. It's so niche, but it was
Right.
really fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised what people, would buy though. Like some people be like, "Oh yeah, this is funny, this is hilarious," like
I hope so. I'm thinking like the book cover could be like, it's like a blockbuster poster, but every floating head is just Hugo Weaving from different, like, you got Elrond, you
Yeah,
got
definitely.
Smith as like the overarching guy, and you know,
Yeah. I can see people buying that, to be honest, like that.
maybe
Yeah,
it's so well online.
right? So what's one lesson you want people to take away from your stories, in general?
It would be about me as an author and what you can intuit from the stories themselves. There is a quote, I forget the screenwriter that said this, but there's a quote that says, people who write bad ideas sell them every single day because they finish them.
Mm.
So I really live by that. And, I never put out a book that I don't like, but when I sit here with a really cool idea that's like half baked or half written, I think to myself, like, how could I make it better? But at the end of the day, it's like, write it first, make it good later. You have to get it out, make sure it exists. When it exists, you can Dr. Frankenstein, you can tinker away at it.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
what I would hope people take away from my writing is that I created everything I've written, because I could not live with the idea that they were just ideas in my head.
Right.
So that is what's taken away from the stories.
Definitely,
That and
definitely.
immortality is a running theme in my work. So I don't know. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, powerful lesson. Powerful lesson in the story. Okay. I like that. I like that. So what do you believe the goal of fiction writing is overall?
The goal of fiction writing. I believe that when people write fictional stories, the genesis of that is myth making of the days of old. Like, oh, cavemen looking up at the sky. What's that? Thunder and lightning. I don't know. The gods must be angry at us. And then they invent this whole like, well, this is how Zeus created the world. This is how
Right.
Vishnu created. This is how Buddha created whatever your religion. They have their own creation myths and stuff like that. And
Right.
that is meant to explain the world around them to keep people comfortable, because people don't like what they don't understand, right?
Right.
So that's where that comes from. But storytelling itself, same caveman time period, is like to protect people. So like, don't touch fire. Dave touched fire.
Right.
Dave dead. I told a story that protected you from touching the fire. So like that's kind of, so a lot of these stories in modern day are about like our fears. In the 60s it was alien invasions, and then in the 80s it was like robots, and now it's AI more specifically because it's an actual bubble we're living in. So a lot of our
Right.
stories or warning against what could happen. Cautionary tales are a big deal. And then there's also a genre of fiction, not genre, but like a type of writing where it's meant solely to entertain, which
Mhm.
I think there's a real genuine purpose in that, where if you're living your life and you're stressed and you got super long job, you got a tough day at work, you come home, you're tired, you're hungry, you don't feel yourself. Entertainment is there for you to take a moment to just breathe, escape, and at the end of the movie or book or show, you can come back to your life refreshed with a new perspective and you can get right back into it. And it's meant to do that for you.
Right.
That's also a big purpose of entertainment. And that's how I use it all the time.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, definitely, I agree. Fiction is, there to either teach a lesson, is there to either, just give you a break from your problems for a while.
Yep.
I can testify that Stephen King has got me through some dark times. So like,
I think he's gotten all of us through some times.
right? Okay. So, what advice would you give to writers that struggle with putting their work out there for the world to see?
Get fucked. It's not easy. It's not easy is my genuine advice. Um, when you're an author in 2026, the game is marketing, right?
Yeah.
So like I think about this a lot, and maybe this isn't fair necessarily, but like if The Rock wrote a book and it was terrible and it sucked and every word was just trash. I don't know his author abilities, I don't know. But like pretending that he wrote a really bad book, if he puts it out on his Instagram and his social medias, it's going to sell millions of copies, just millions, because that's where he is marketing wise. Meanwhile, if Joe Schmo with no connection in the industry writes the next Odyssey, the Odyssey Part 2 in terms of quality, and he puts it out, only his friends and family are going to read it and know about it existing, and he'll sell one copy or two. And the disparity, like the quality of the book does not mean that you're going to reach an audience or have sales, sadly.
Right.
So if you're an author in 2026, you are also a marketer in 2026. You have to be, at least until you sign with an agency, and then they can do a marketing for you and stuff like. But you got to get
Yeah,
established first in order for that to happen, usually.
right.
Yeah. If you're just starting out, let's say you've never written anything in your life, you're just starting out. Step one, always, always, always focus on the quality of the work first. Make sure the book is the best thing it can possibly be, because if you have a bad book, you're never going to get an agent. If you have a good book, there's like a less than 1% chance you will. That's better than zero, right? So make sure your book is the best you can possibly make it, and market yourself. Whatever that means, whether you join conventions and sell your books by hand with a little sales pitch, whatever it is. I do that a lot. I'm actually doing that this weekend. Or whether you're, reaching out to people on their social medias, maybe to do a brand deal, maybe money's exchanged, maybe it's just an opportunity to cross expose, whatever it is. Just make sure you're marketing yourselves at all points in time. And if you're genuinely creative, if you have that urge inside of you, don't stop. Don't let that go out just because of the way the world is right now with like the industry. Just make sure you keep going, you know? A genuine reader always wants a good book, and they know if it's ChatGPT. Don't use ChatGPT. It's so easy to tell.
I, honestly, you're not a writer if you're using ChatGPT to write the book. You can use it to research.
That's not even an opinion. You're just saying a true statement. You're not a writer. You didn't write anything. You clicked the button.
Like that's right. Oh man, that's crazy. You're using ChatGPT to write a book. Come on now. Supposed to use that
It's
for everything else so that we could focus on writing the book. Like that.
if you want some dirty laundry, I'm not going to name names, but I'll drop a little tea because you're my friend and you got an interview. I'll give you a little something. I was co-writing a script with a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And I will not name when this was, who this was, what the context of this was, but it's in the past. I was co-writing a script, and they were like, I really want to get the script over a certain page count. And we had made it so that it was like, I don't know, I think a few 7 or 8 pages shorter than what he envisioned. I don't know why the page count mattered, but whatever. So
Right.
a couple days later, he messages me and he's like, script's done. I was like, okay. So I looked at what it can tell me what he revised, and I looked at all the sections he revised, and it's the most like M-dashy, generic-y, wordy, exactly 3 examples cited. It's like, come on, man. There's no way you just did this. So it's a real thing. If you're a writer starting out, relating it back to the point, it's a real thing. I know it's
Yeah,
very tempting and easy. For context, he later called me and apologized about this, so I'm not like, no bad blood. But
yeah,
it's so easy to get tempted by the dark force of ChatGPT doing it for you. But you won't learn, you won't grow by doing that. And more importantly, your audience not only won't be satisfied because it's, again, really easy to tell, they're not going to trust you anymore. You'll
yeah.
break
That.
that with them and you can never get that back.
Mm-mm-mm. That's. Oh man, it's just I don't know. I think it's just a matter of people having their priorities backward. Like
Uh-huh.
writing is the important thing. Not whatever other
Exactly.
nonsense you're doing. you know, I'm supposed to use Chat GPT and stuff like that too. You're supposed to use Chat GPT and stuff like that to help us with stuff other than that.
Yes.
You
No,
can help
I fully
research.
agree. AI
You know,
is not the enemy. Let it do all the things that people don't like doing so we can do
yeah,
things we do like doing, like making art or sleeping enough. Like let it do all the grunt work. Who cares?
you're right. All right, so that will conclude the interview portion of this segment that we have. And now tell us about the big project, the
Okay.
special
Okay.
project, you
Okay.
know.
Okay. I'm releasing my Hugo Weaving parody book. No, I I have a big project cooking. Admittedly, it's a little stalled because I've mentioned I had the opportunity to now potentially direct my film. I'm trying to pursue that right now, but um, I am pursuing an idea I had, and I'm using my
Mhm.
status as a published author to do so. I am creating a book called One Page Horrors, and I'm aiming for 200 to 300 pages, maybe 200, just on the smaller side, so it's easier to read.
Right,
And I have been reaching out to a lot of authors, a lot of other 7 story interviewees as well.
right,
Um, I've been reaching out to a lot of authors saying, "Hey, would you want to write 1 page for this book? Just 1 page in your own tone and style. Just make sure it's a horror story. That's all I ask, but your own tone, your own flavor, your own personality, and like maybe 350 word count, something small and short, so it's just nice and easy. Put it in the book, and all I ask is that you promote the book on launch day. And what that'll do is, let's say I have 100 authors and they all send 100 pages. Every single one of those authors is probably like a really small indie author, and they only have like a small following, like 30 people, 50 people, maybe 100 people if they're lucky, maybe in the thousands if they're really lucky. So
right.
if I put this book out and all 100 authors share this on launch day because their page is in it, then what happens is you cross pollinate all of their authors' platforms. So if you have 50 followers, times 100 is 5,000 eyeballs, right? So what it does is it exposes 100 brand new, unheard of authors to each other's fan bases and makes them all more visualized than they otherwise would have been if they all published 1 or 2 books. Like, this is 100 people in one book doing one big project, and you write me a page, I gift you exposure in return with our collaborative team, right? And so that's kind of what we're going after here. No money exchange. I'm not paying you, you're not paying me, which is just I'm giving you this, you're giving me that, and we all benefit together. And that's kind of what I'm going after here. So like a rising tide raises all ships. It's a
Okay,
really cool idea. I
right,
think I need a publishing house, but I'm willing to do it independent if I have to.
okay,
Um, we will see what happens, but so
right.
far I've the success rate on me sending emails is about 10%. We'll send something back. So I have about 20 people so far, which means that I've emailed 200 people, and that's what I've gotten.
Right.
So I probably need to email almost 1,000 more people to get up to 100 pages. And then at which point I will either keep looking or I will have to write the other 100 pages. So I'm not, I'm not looking forward to that. But
Right.
it's going to be a whole thing, and I'm really excited about it.
Okay. Nice. Well, on behalf of Seven Story Publishing, we would love to assist you in finding your authors and getting that out to the world for people to see. I mean, you know that's a awesome project. To be
Thank you.
honest, because it
I'm
helps.
I'm I'm really excited about it. The whole goal is because we all have the same problem. We all
Yeah,
need exposure. We all need marketing. So there's got to be a
right.
way where we can help each other. That just has to exist.
Definitely, definitely. And it's a way to even start a community, because all these people coming together, working on a single project and just, helping each other rise. And
Hmm.
that's the whole indie author, niche of the industry is based on, you know.
Right. Yeah. It's just a matter of sitting at home all day drafting emails for hours on end until you finally get enough pages. But sadly, I have a full time job and we're pregnant, so it's not as easy as it
Right,
sounds.
right. Ah, man. Well, congratulations on that part,
Thank
and
you, thank
all
you.
right. Ah, man. Well, you heard it here, folks. Indie author Jake Camara is posing a project, collaborative project with, potentially a couple of hundred authors to cross promote and help everybody rise by way of horror anthologies, you know. And, it's been great to interview you again. You're always welcome here on Seven Story Publishing. And, you need anything from us, reach out and we'll get it done for you.
Oh,
You
hell
know,
yeah, I
here,
appreciate the olive branch, man. I mean,
yeah, here we
I'm very
champion the authors, we believe in the authors. So
I
that's
much
why we
appreciate
do
it.
it. Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I would love to use you guys. We'll see if we go down that road. We'll
All
probably
right.
talk off recording for that one.
All right. Got it. All right. Well, it was nice interviewing you. Take care and we will talk.
You as well, man. I'll be back on for my third interview whenever you want to have me.
All right.
Boom. Is that